Now entering Nerdist.com.
Jackie Cation, Laurie Kilmartin. Jackie Cation, Laurie Kilmartin. It's the Jackie and Laurie Show. The Jackie and Laurie Show. It's the Jackie and Laurie Show. The Jackie and Laurie Show.
Hey, I'm Laurie Kilmartin.
I'm Jackie Cation. I think we've been talking for 10 minutes and we forgot to tell Aristotle. So, hi, Aristotle.
Hey, Aristotle.
Here we are.
You forwarded me a link to read. I'm like, well, she read it. I'll just comment on her comments. But you didn't read it either.
I wonder what it was. I wonder what I sent you. There were so many things.
My God.
I don't know if you know this about social media, but people are constantly sending me links and they're like, you should totally read this thing. Shit's going down.
Did you okay, so this is Sunday and this is going up the next day.
Yeah.
So we're hot on the heels of the Lena Dunham weekend.
Oh, right. So this is the September 5th episode. So
yeah.
And Lena Dunham just made everyone sad.
Did you read I get Lenny. Now, I never read it, but I get it.
What's Lenny?
Lenny's her newsletter that she sends out. I sometimes read it, but it's long, and then I'm like, I'll read this later, and then I never do. Much like your links. Much like everything.
I do not, and much like everything, there's far too much content. So,
but
you've got people to fight with online. One
I
at a
did
time.
read the I'm turning Trump voters one at a time. To
the Lord's work.
But I read the Amy Schumer one. Just she's a stand-up, right?
Right.
So and I when I came across that part of the conversation, it didn't feel like how the internet felt about it,
Right.
But it did feel a little like clubby, when like rich people talk about and you're listening in and you're angry and envious, and I don't know, I was just like, the Met Ball. Okay, what? But
they went to the Met Ball. What is the Met Ball?
I only know about this because I've been writing monologue jokes about it for the past 3 years. It's just this ball full of assholes who dress up really well and get photographed, and usually Kim Kardashian breaks the internet the next day with it, right? So I guess they went. They have famous people go, right? So
they went and they were standing next to handsome black men, and they riffed on. They essentially objectified.
Lena Dunham kind of seemed like she sort of backed Amy Schumer into this conversation. Where yeah, it was all Lena
article.
Dunham, and Amy Schumer was kind of like, yeah, right, and, just sort of like keeping it going,
right,
but not really contributing. But
she's just listening to the story is what she was.
And then it's printed, and it
as who's transcribing people's conversations? Were they on a podcast?
I don't know. But here's what we're learning is that you think you're having a conversation with a friend, and people who like you are reading it, or they're reading your tweets or reading your Facebook
they're listening
posts.
to you.
And it's not. It's the whole world.
It's the entire world.
It's people who don't like you, and then they see one thing and go,
and they're looking for things not to like.
And you know what? Maybe I can see how it didn't occur to me that she was objectifying Odell Beckham.
Did she grind against Michael Jordan?
No. She just fantasized about
grinding
openly.
with Michael Jordan. Because I have this. Because here's what Grammacation has to say: is no grinding against whether it was real or. I mean, imagine. I understand.
You know what? You're married, and no one cares what you think. I'll fucking grind anyone I can get my vagina on.
That's a 3. Your vagina. If you can get your pudendum near the bum of a gentleman, yes.
But when I read that perspective of, she took a black male athlete and sort of made him this, thing who's only either horny or not horny. And I'm like, I can see that. Like,
no, I see.
Swivel my perspective around. I'm like, I could see how that would make people angry. And maybe that one thing, exemplifies that happening a million other times way worse.
Yes.
Where someone's stereotyping someone's sexual. What,
for the billionth time, I could see why someone's mad about
that. Yes.
You're like, I get it.
Oh, it's like, I get it. But I also don't get the complete
minutia
fury.
Yeah.
And it's just like, hey, this is just another, it's another slightly
being an
boneheaded
asshole.
but well-meaning, person.
I can't express to you how many jackass things I've said out loud.
Oh my God.
We're not recorded. Blessedly not recorded.
I know. And we're two white female comics to talk about our lives. Who fucking knows what we've said that has triggered some subtweets we didn't get.
Nobody transcribe any of this bullshit. We need don't do it.
But the SmackDown was. I get
brutal.
obsessed with the SmackDowns. I'm just reading, you just search their name in Twitter and then it doesn't have to
right.
be
You love to hit a hashtag. You love to hit a hashtag on Twitter.
I'm fascinated by fuck that. And it was just this complete rage at this person who's probably super nice. If she was raised by artists. And I got the feeling she's like, I feel like I've met people like her in New York where they were raised, they're only surrounded by grown-ups and everyone listened to what they said.
Yes.
Yeah, and so they think everything they say is interesting. And as stand-ups, we're constantly monitoring the room. And when am I losing people? When are people peeling off? Mm-hmm. And I think there's another type of person who's only monitoring their own head and not noticing when language gets a little weird or anything gets strange. And so they're just used to being listened to, and being going,
check yourself. You shouldn't be listened to. I think you don't need, everyone doesn't need to be listened to. Know in your heart that
you're not special
you're
and
not
you're gonna
special.
Die.
You're gonna die. Yeah, you aren't that. I mean, people do have this whole thing about they're just like, you're the best. And you're like, no. No, you aren't. Everyone's flawed, and please get yourself some sort of perspective because you are digging your own grave, and then you're jumping into it and eating dirt.
I don't even know they were even saying that about her. It's just a, so she's a little bit,
Well, I thought it was sexy talk in the way that dudes talk about women.
Yeah.
Sort of, it was, you know what it was? It was lady locker room talk, as far as I could tell.
Right.
And you're like, oh, I get it. It's just sort of weird sex riffing.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's funny and sometimes it isn't. I'm reading Norman Lear's autobiography. And when I say reading, I mean I'm listening to him tell it to me. He's saying it out loud.
That counts. And they did a study where it says your brain processes an audiobook the same way that it processes a regular book.
It's so good.
Please never make me say the word processes again.
It's so good. And what I've learned from it is that comics have been assholes since 1950, at the very least, because he has stories of walking in and guys have their dicks out. Guys have their dicks out in 1952.
Norman Lear's walking into where?
He's a writer, right? He's a writer on the Jerry Lewis Dean Martin show.
Okay.
And him and
going
another
into
writer.
a writer's room?
Jerry Lewis calls him into his office.
Yeah.
Him and the guy knock at the door. They open it. He says, come in, or whatever, Jerry Lewis, however. I do a lot of voices, you guys. And so he goes in. The lights are out. He hears a match. And him and the other writer, it's Jerry Lewis with his erect penis. Lighting a match. He's got a candle sticking out of the eye hole, the pee hole of his penis, and he lights the candle, and then he sings happy birthday to his own dick. That's one story.
He was never funny.
Well,
I don't care. None of that shit. None of that shit.
No,
with
I
Dean
wasn't
Martin.
gonna defend
He
it.
was never funny. He's a loathsome person, but why is shouting like that funny? It's not fucking funny, and it never was. And stop defending him. He's not a genius.
No. Well,
behind the camera, he invented some shit, but he's not funny.
Right. I remember as a child being uncomfortable by Jerry Lewis, but then I have never enjoyed physical comedy.
Right.
I'm not good with it.
Right.
I don't like it. It's taken me years to appreciate fucking silly.
Yeah.
I used to hate goddamn silly.
Exactly.
So, Jerry Lewis can whatever, blow himself. But what I thought was interesting was there was that story. Mm-hmm. There was the story of him and his wife, Norman Lear, walking in on Milton Berle with his dick out.
Talk about a guy who could blow himself. Milton Berle.
Well, that's why Milton Berle had it out.
Right?
Right. That's why he had it out. He needed everyone to know. He wasn't willing to go with, pun intended, word of mouth.
Listen, that you understand. When it's that big, you almost do have to.
Why do other guys
get the word
have
out?
to know? Why do you can go to the bathroom, stand around with your dick out,
Norman Lear wrote about it in his autobiography. All the things he's accomplished, and he still wrote about Milton Berle's cock. That's a magnificent cock, and it should be appreciated.
The main thrust of the story. I'll be over
Oh my
here.
God. Oh my God.
was the fact that Milton Berle was a racist. That was the main point of the
Yeah.
story. And then the third one was when the guy who played Arthur on Maude dropped his pants. And
Macy? Was that William?
no, it was William
Bill
H. Macy. It was Bill Macy.
Bill
Yeah, it was
Macy, yeah.
Bill Macy. And he dropped his pants after being a jackass at the Emmys, I guess, and in the writers in the table read. And no one needed gentlemen. No, keep it together. Keep your pants up. Nobody, let your loved ones pay someone. One of those two things: loved ones and
I'm not going to
pay
drag Aristotle into this. He doesn't have to defend his gender, but let me tell you something. I'm living with a testicle-obsessed 9-year-old
people. Well, and that's
who
when
sings songs about his balls.
well, that,
Like
that actually
another
sounds
mother
very funny.
told me she had to stop him from talking about it. At a
Oh my
play
God,
date.
that is slightly embarrassing.
Yeah.
But nine is when he should talk about his dick and his balls. Not to you, not to other people's mothers. But you know how like little boys, and you do.
Yeah.
I used to do a lot of childcare. But like a 6-year-old will walk around with it in his hand all the time. Just constantly checking on it, just constantly touching it. And you have to tell them not to. You're just like, no, you're actually in public. You can't touch it all the time. I know you want to. Good times. Anyway, that's a solo activity. And
Yeah. Well,
until you're in college.
I don't understand.
That's what I always tell my nephews.
And this
Solo activity.
All right,
till college.
this has been so far the hackiest podcast I've ever participated in. I don't want to talk about penises
Well, keep
anymore.
writing. Keep writing. I'm going to tell you about Rebecca O'Neill, who opened for Maria in Chicago.
Okay.
I opened for Maria, but Rebecca O'Neill was on that show as well. And
Cool.
she's an amazing comic out of Chicago. And she is wonderful. She's a black woman. And she has written a Facebook page, a Facebook
Post page. I know what you tried to do.
processing.
Yes.
And so what she did was she wrote this thing, and it was about how she would go to venues because she wanted to start rooms
Right.
to put up comics in Chicago. And she talked to them and tell them about how she could fill the room. It was going to be fine. She had great contacts in comics. She could tell jokes. Other people she knows, she could tell jokes. And then she would leave. They would say no, they weren't interested. A month or so later, she'd find out that they had comedy. And it was with a male comic, sometimes
Wow.
black, sometimes not black. And she said, it's not those guys are bad guys. Those guys aren't bad guys. They didn't know that.
comics?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
comics. They didn't know that I'd gone first. But she said, from now on, I guess I have to learn that I have to bring a dude, even if he isn't a comic, just a man.
God.
And a white man if I can get one. And I was like, wow, that makes so much horrible sense.
There was just a study out this week where they're saying if you're a woman going on a job interview, you shouldn't wear an engagement ring.
Just a wedding ring?
No
rings.
No rings, unless you're obviously married and have kids or something like
Right.
that. But if you have an engagement ring, don't wear it.
Because it's distracting.
Distracting? No, because if the hirer is a dude, he's less likely to hire you because you have a man.
Oh, weird.
It's just
yet another. But like
fucking
it's
depressing.
1957 again.
I know. Why is Milton Berle's cock out on our podcast?
Why
table right
is it
now?
out? Why is it out? It's a fascinating. But he was talking about. You gotta listen to it just because of the. I would love to get your input.
Yeah.
Let me send you not just a really long article that you can ignore.
Do you want to pick my brain?
But a 14. Oh my God!
Please leave my brain alone.
Please do not. Can I take you to lunch and pick your brain? No.
Nothing sounds worse. I don't like eating in front of people, and I don't want my brain touched.
Oh my God! Today I went to comedy brunch with a bunch of comics, and you had texted,
I
or no,
wish I
you had
could've
posted.
gone.
You had posted a thing,
I had a handyman come.
right? But you had posted something about going to an IKEA on a weekend day, like a crazy person,
Because I have to do everything on weekends.
right? Because you have a job,
Right. So my kid doesn't have a place to put his clothes, and he hasn't. So my mom took his room. So it's.
So she got his dresser as well.
She got the closet. He doesn't
Okay.
have a closet.
Okay.
So I had to.
So you had to go
IKEA.
on a weekend, and
Labor Day weekend.
someone said out loud to me, "Well, doesn't she live with her mom? Can't she just send her mom to IKEA?"
Oh my God.
And I thought, wow, I don't think that happens. I don't think
She doesn't leave the
house.
house. She doesn't leave the
You
house.
posted the saddest thing about I'm 7 months of I'm the only adult my mother has talked to in 7 months.
Here's what happened this week. I didn't do stand up for 6 days because
How is that possible?
Well,
That's weird.
it's possible.
right. It's possible.
But
It's
here's
not unlikely.
like a couple. My kid started school. He started fourth grade.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And I keep thinking. Here's what I thought when I had a kid. Like, all right, the first couple years would be intense, and then we start separating, natural separation.
The child
and then he
grows
turns
up.
18, and we're the fuck out, and we see each other at Thanksgiving and Christmas, and that's it. And I'm good. I've done my duty.
Where's that book? Please write that book.
Well, he's becoming more attached now. And so it's odd. I thought he would be less attached, but now he's like, do you have a show? And then I say, yes, shoulder slump like Linus in, like
Yeah, like
Charlie
he's-
Brown. Just
yeah.
like I've broken a heart, And so I didn't have much this week, and I just thought, all right, let me just hunker down, and I'm just going to go to sleep with my son every single night this week. And that means being at home at night with him, but also my mom.
You're right.
And this whole Labor Day weekend, we even got to work from home on Friday, and my mom was hovering, and I can't explain how I feel like this negativity is bleeding into me, and
brutal.
I can't get away from it. She's
Yeah.
always frowning. Even when she's happy, she's frowning.
She makes my neck hurt. My Asperger's hump is acting up. I can't hang out.
No, that was from Asperger's.
I get an Asperger's hump when I think about terrible social situations.
And this whole weekend, like yesterday, I was lifting weights, and I usually feel better after a workout, and I just cried out while I was lifting weights because I didn't feel better,
Oh.
and I knew I'd have to go back from the garage into the house and just
Yep.
see her. Oh, I don't know what
Yeah.
to do, but pray something happens in her surgery this Friday.
Right, this next Friday is when her surgery is.
Not death, but say an infection that keeps her in the hospital for 6 weeks. Wouldn't that be a treat?
Or she gets so great, she takes up snowboarding. Anything, where she just finds a damn life. You know that my brother was so mean to my dad when he got out of the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, he went to pick him up to take him to lunch. He was going to lunch with him every day, and he picked him up. And one day, my dad comes out with his walker, and my brother Russ says to my dad, "You put that fucking thing in the car, I'm going to throw it out the window. You don't need it." And my dad goes, "I need it." He said, "Then get a cane like a man. You don't need a walker." And I was like, "You said that?" And he goes, "Yeah. And guess what? He's got a cane." And I also,
My mom has 4 canes and a walker. There's a walker in front of the toilet.
does she have 4 arms?
She can't bend over, so when she drops it, she kind of leaves it in place and then just scoots on over to the other cane.
Right. Oh, tough love. I don't know what to tell you.
Why is this happening?
I don't know
Why is
why.
this my life?
I don't know why your sister can't come and just go, "Mom, we're going to Acapulco."
Well, she can't. She has to get this hip.
Right. She's got to get the
Fixed.
surgery. Mm-hmm. And it's going to...
It was supposed to be like 2 weeks here, 2 weeks there,
Right.
something like that,
There
right?
was
We get a
things were gonna
break. And
happen.
she's just.
It's been 7 months.
She's part of the walls now.
You're going to have to fumigate.
I'm gonna
is
have to
what
paint over her.
You might have to pay. Maybe if you paint her in plaid, she'll just fit in.
It's my plaid house, yes.
I did my 4-1. Let's talk about comedy. You'll enjoy that. Maybe. I did Odd Block in Winnipeg. I went to Winnipeg and I did a comedy festival. Second year of the comedy festival. Always some bugs.
Right.
Second year, but really fun. And he had really it was Martha Kelly.
I love Martha Kelly.
Which I haven't seen her do stand up in probably 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
And she was hilarious.
Yeah.
Matt Bronger,
Yeah.
Ian Abramson, Ron Lynch.
Oh my God, Ron Lynch is great.
Yeah. So
What a great lineup.
it was a great lineup. And then a lot of great local Winnipeg comics and Canadian comics. It
Yeah.
was super fun. They paid me in a U.S. check again, like JFL did.
Okay.
My bank can't handle it. For some reason, my bank doesn't have the internet, and so they don't know what the exchange rate is. So thank God it isn't in Canadian; it's in U.S. funds. And then they're still like, "Well, we don't know if that bank is real. We have to send it to Canada." I was like, You don't know if the bank is real. The Royal Bank of Canada. You don't think the RBC Dane Rauscher is real. And then, so they're like, it'll take 6 to 8 weeks to cash that check.
Wow.
So every time I go to Canada, I come back with a check, and I'm like, Well, it's been great. One day, you and I, this $12, will one day be reunited.
I was last weekend. I had this gig in Napa. Okay, I'm going to tell the story.
Oh, right.
The
I
guy
got
that
texts.
books the gig is a nice guy, and I know he listens. So
Sure.
I'm just going to tell you, I had so
shout
much
out.
fun at your show.
Great gig, dude.
Great. You're doing it, right?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm being supportive.
I had a lot of fun, and I'm glad I went.
Oh, good. Right.
Okay.
It was in the Bay Area.
However.
Yes. However. Oh, yeah.
No, so it's usually a gig that Bay Area comics do. So
Okay.
I don't think they're used to having to get a hotel.
Yes.
So I hadn't heard any info on the hotel, and I sent a text, and then I got a text. Now I'm driving up on Saturday to do the gig Saturday night, and it's like a 7-hour drive, 6
Yeah.
or 7-hour drive. And I got a text on Friday around 11 o'clock.
PM.
Yeah, PM. Here's the hotel, and it's a picture of the reservation at a Motel 6 in Fairfield.
No fucking way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, right when he sent me that text, you decided to send me a text of Amy Schumer in Ireland.
Oh, right. Opening for 10,000 people
So
or 100,000.
you don't need to do that again. I don't need other
am I
people's
blamed?
careers texted to me.
Right. Not while you're getting
Ever.
not while
you
you're
know, I
getting
have
the Motel
jealousy
6.
problems and envy problems.
But you were about to stay at a Motel
No,
6.
I
don't
that-
think you understand
then
how
I s-
great your career.
Then you're horrible. You're a horrible person.
I just thought I just realized why she dumped Jimmy Miller and went with you two and
Of course.
so that she could play arenas
Oh my
in
God.
Dublin.
Yeah, she's with Madonna's manager.
Right, and Mark Normand is opening for her.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Rachel Feinstein. Yeah, it's
It's a hell of
sweet
a
life,
gig.
man.
Yeah, it's all
sweet.
working out. Congratulations.
But
Amy
hey,
Schumer.
my shit's sweet too.
Motel
I think
6.
you've heard.
Super 8.
So I
Cigarette
text,
burns
and
in
I
the
go
in the
I go, look, I don't feel safe when a pickup can be backed up into 3 feet away from my front door.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
how murders happen. That's how
Exactly.
meth deals happen. I don't feel safe,
Especially when it's filled with lime.
and I don't feel treasured.
Right. That is you.
At the
you were
Motel
not
6.
No, or
Because
appreciated.
I was like,
or,
I was somehow, I don't know what I was thinking, but I was like, yeah, Napa. I had like some sort of sideways road trip in my head by myself that I was going to drink and have a
Right.
great time in Napa. And then, so I'm not even in Napa. It's Fairfield, which is the city you drive through to get to Napa. That's
Right.
its only positive attribute. As
Right.
it's,
There's some
that means
brack-
you're closer to Napa.
it's got brackish water.
I don't know what that
it's-
means.
It means that it's where seawater and fresh water mix,
Oh,
and it's just.
I bet it does. I bet it does.
Yeah, it does.
Okay. And I'm like, I don't feel safe. There's no hotel. You know, I like an indoor hotel. I want someone, if they're going to rape me, at least have to talk to the hotel desk clerk. So the guy can ID him for me.
Right. Hey, we're
Okay?
going to call up your rapist is coming up.
Yeah.
It's, he says his name is Larry.
Okay. So Larry again. What is that's your go-to
It's my go-to name. It is my.
All right.
Sorry to the Larrys out there. All right.
So
should I go with Bob?
So then they switch it to a different, like an indoor suites place. I
Okay.
go, okay, all right. So it's like
Just a
midnight,
Best Western,
whatever.
kind
But
of.
now I'm angry. I'm up. I'm awake. I'm angry.
Have you asked for too much?
Yes. And I was like, look, if I haven't sold enough tickets, I'll, you know what, bring in somebody else. I won't do it. You know, whatever. I was willing to not do it
Right.
because I
He
just
should have,
couldn't
to
drive
some extent,
7
bookers-
hours to go to a Motel 6.
Right. Know in your hearts that no one wants to do that. And I know that it was still $115, so calm down. Just spend an
Okay.
extra $75
Right.
and get a decent hotel.
So then, okay, so that gets solved. I drive. I'm driving the next day. First of all, I left at the latest possible hour because I'm like, I'm not going to spend extra seconds in Fairfield. Like, I'm not getting to the gig early now. You know,
Right.
So I left at noon. The show's at 8.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
So I get there around 7 o'clock.
And you have a Porsche, so you just cruise control at 180.
It's like in a business park. You know.
Yeah. It's in a business park?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
Yeah, it's like
Napa?
a suites in a business park. Not
Oh.
Napa,
Oh,
Fairfield.
the hotel.
Yeah,
Okay.
the hotel. So I get there and I wait at the front desk, and there's no one at the front desk. And there's no one at the front desk for 25 minutes. and other people are coming in. They also want to check in. We are calling the hotel. The phone's ringing right in front of it. It's like a
Nothing.
ghost town.
Nothing.
And it's, it's like 7:25, 7:30. The show
Jesus
starts
Christ.
at 8, and I'm still 20 minutes from the show because
Right.
Fairfield isn't in Napa.
Right.
So finally, this very flustered woman comes up and
Is it all your
neck
fault?
tattoos down to the clavicle. Okay, but that's fine. That's a choice people make. But it was like, I'm like, I don't think you're a people person. And then she proved it.
Yeah.
She was really hot. I was angry, and she
Yeah.
was angry, and the other people waiting were angry, and she got really defensive. And then
What
she
was
gets
her defense?
I don't know. She goes, I was cleaning the bed, something about the bed. And I guess then it turned out later they were understaffed and stuff, but nothing was properly explained.
Yes.
And I was really cranky. And then I kind of felt guilty, but not because she wasn't like nice. So
Right.
I was like, I should feel guilty for talking this way, but she's
To
being such a
anyone.
bitch that
She's
I
an
feel
idiot.
justified now.
Yes.
Yeah.
All of it.
Yeah, just like she got on the phone. She's like, I'm in front of someone. This guest is going off and screaming at me. And I go, are you talking about me? Because I wasn't screaming. And
Yeah.
then I said to the woman, I go, I'm not screaming. She goes, no, you're not. The other lady who wanted to check in.
And have I been standing here for 25 minutes? I have.
It's like,
I
this
have
isn't
been.
how this is supposed to go.
Yeah.
So anyway,
the bad guy.
get to the hotel. Get into my room, whatever.
Drop.
Very quickly, curl 5 hairs, go back out. Show's fine. I have a really fun time. I was with Ash Carter and Yuri. Oh, I forgot his last name. He was another San Francisco comic. Really funny. It was fun. It was a fun show. And then the owner felt guilty about the Motel 6 thing, so he gave me a bottle of champagne.
Oh,
Brut champagne.
cash.
Like
Cash.
nice.
How about a cash bump?
Well, no.
Nope. Champagne.
Champagne.
There we go. Oh, because he's a wine guy.
Yeah, it's wine.
Okay.
It's Napa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's going to hand you a
Yeah,
bottle of booze.
Yeah, he
Good
probably
for
took
him.
it out of his kid's lunch. But it's nice. So then I go back to the hotel. All right. It is manned at night by a different person.
Thank
and
you.
then the next morning, she's there. She's working back-to-back shifts, so I gave her the champagne.
Oh, good.
And then I felt
Slightly
okay.
better?
Yeah.
You're like, here.
And then I did get to drive and be away from my mother. That's what it's come to now. It's I'm taking
Road
any
gigs.
gig so that I don't.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All
so
right.
so it ended up being fun. It was
Well, that's
fun.
good.
And then for some reason, you know how you do a really old joke and there's just some space there.
Yeah.
Space on stage. And so I kind of tagged it. And I'm like, these are such fucking, why didn't I finish this joke? Why is it? Because I've always
Right,
felt
'cause
like,
it's-
I don't love this one yet. And I don't know why, but it's working. And
Yeah.
yeah.
I did those 4 1-hour shows at 4 p.m.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I did the Clubhouse this week.
What's the
Tuesday.
Clubhouse?
The Clubhouse is on Vermont, and it's a place that has a lot of improv, and
Yeah.
then they have some stand-up shows.
Okay.
And it's just it's at least 2 theaters.
Okay.
And it's on Vermont, over kind of by, I don't know, Hillhurst maybe, and it's in Silver Lake.
Okay.
And it's next to a John's and a Radio Shack, and so it's this kind
John's
of-
is a grocery store.
Yep, and it's a little divey, it's a strip mall. right?
Oh, I have been to that one.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
There's
yeah,
sort
yeah.
of a bigger room downstairs and a smaller room upstairs.
I've never been to the upstairs room.
Well, and I've done both, and so at 4 p.m. Maria did a week of it, and so I asked the guy who runs it if he would be willing to, if I could do it, and he goes, yeah. And so I show up on Tuesday because I couldn't do Monday because
she
I
would
flew
do
back.
for an hour show at 4:00.
Right, she's done 2 weeks of them to run for her new album.
Wow.
And to work on her hour. And it's great. It's essentially a donation. Anybody who wants to come, just throw $5 if you can into
Yeah.
the donation bucket. And that money goes to the Clubhouse or to the sound guy. I don't know. It doesn't need to go to me or to her.
Yeah.
And so I show up and Jason goes, yeah, there's going to be a lot of people here, Maria. Maria's the lowest number she had was 30 people. And I said, yeah, I'm not Maria Bamford. 30 people are not going to find their way over to a strip mall in Silver Lake to see me do an hour. And I had 6 people on Tuesday, 6 people on Wednesday, 8 people on Thursday, and 9 people on Friday.
That's not bad, dude.
It was fine. It was great, quite honestly.
4:00 in the afternoon. That place is hard to find.
Yep. And
That's
it was
not bad.
And it was 6 people that wanted to hear my hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was great. I mean,
That's
it
pretty
did a
cool.
lot. The best ones were Wednesday and Thursday, I thought, but it was because all I'm doing is I'm trying to find the order, right?
Right.
I'm trying to make sure I know what the set list is.
Yeah.
And then I'm trying to find the order, and I
Right.
did not. I didn't find the order in this week, but
You found some stuff though,
I found
right?
yeah, I found chunks of it. I just haven't figured out how to run from one to the next. The Friday was actually the hardest because it was people that had heard the jokes before.
Oh,
So
they came
some
back?
people, one woman had come back. She actually came Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday. So one woman came twice. But on Friday, it was like Andrew Solomson came, and he's heard all of that material.
Yeah, right.
And a couple other comics came, and I was like, oh, they've heard all this material.
Yeah.
Bucky Sinister came,
Yeah.
and took notes and,
Oh,
gave,
cool.
and gave me good notes, and that was great. And but it was just
Did you want notes?
he asked me if I wanted them, and
Okay.
I said, you can give them to me. and I because he's Bucky Sinister, right?
Yeah.
I mean, matter of fact, anybody could give me their opinion, but don't be sad if I go, no, that's not what I want to do. And
Yeah.
there was a really nice woman who was like, you because it's going to be an audio thing, you should describe what your body type is. And I said, oh wow, that's never happening. That's people can Google image me and live that life because I'm not going to start.
Oh my God.
I was like, that's never happening.
Yeah.
So, but those were they were fascinating to do, and I'm really grateful that anybody freaking came.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
I kind of
but-
like that.
It was fun. There was, and then on Friday I was supposed to do Sauce. You know, the pizza place, DeSano's, I think it's called, in Silver Lake has a Friday night show with Eric Dudurian.
Okay.
And I gotten a text message from Tig asking if I wanted to do Largo on Friday night, and I was like, yeah, for 350 Hollywood haircuts,
Yes.
indeed. And so I told those guys I was like, hey, I think I could be there. What time's the show? And they were like, I think it ends at 10:30. And I said, I think I could be there by 10:30. So I go, it's an 8:30 show at Largo, and it's packed. And
Did you want to leave or did you want to hang out afterwards?
Well, it's just me and Tig because Zach Galifianakis had to cancel.
Yeah.
So I got to do a half an hour.
Oh, cool.
Usually you do like 10 to 12 at Largo.
I've never worked at Largo.
Oh, no?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, I can.
I don't think he likes me.
No, I brought him up, and he said he knew you and loved you.
Really?
Yeah. Everyone loves you.
There's
Lori
one way
Kilmartin.
to show love, pal.
Turns out bookings. That is the only way. The only way to show love. Little stand-up comedy, Flanagan. Get on it.
Don't do that. You're going to ruin my
You started.
chances.
You started it. What am I doing that you didn't just
You
do?
don't call someone out. Haven't we learned anything from Lena Dunham? You don't use a fucking name.
Oh, I'm sorry. The mythical, the leprechaun.
Odell
that,
Beckham, who books Largo.
Odell Beckham and Michael J. Fox.
No, Michael B. Jordan.
I don't know why I got Michael J. Fox on the.
Did
you
you watch
Michael
the-
B.
Did you watch the? Yeah, because of Michael Jordan.
Right.
Did you watch The Wire? Did you ever watch? Did you?
I
See
saw the
Wire?
first season. I thought to myself, this isn't going to end well, and I stopped watching it.
Oh, his
I understand it's
character. He
amazing.
was like 14 or something when he was in it.
Oh, really?
Amazing arc.
Yeah.
Amazing. It's. I'll always remember him.
First season?
First season. Yeah, through the whole thing.
Oh,
I
okay.
think, yeah. Through
Oh, they
season.
followed him.
Yeah.
Oh, that's kind
Yeah,
of amazing.
and it's one of those things, and I'm not because I know a lot of people haven't seen The Wire. I won't spoil it, but it's one of those. It's The Wire's a huge amount of characters, and a lot of them don't know each other.
Right.
And there's one thing that happens to Michael B. Jordan's character, towards the end of the series, and you're like, oh, your
Does it
heart's
have anything
broken.
to do with that sled of his, Rosebud? No. Anyway, kidding. I'm just riffing.
I hate talking to you. I really hate talking to you.
It took us 30 minutes for me to start riffing about anything. So I like
Okay.
me. I like
So
me a great deal.
Your heart is broken.
yeah.
Can I get back to this, or are you going to throw another
abrasive.
Larry in
You're
here?
abrasive, is what I'm told on iTunes.
I wrote her down. Wait, I wrote her down. Oh my god!
Finish your Wire story.
No, and then other characters, stumble upon the situation, and they're like, "Oh, that's a bummer." And then they move because they're cops, so they, it's like another person has met a terrible fate, right?
Yes.
But it's weird because I know those guys, and I know this one, and you guys don't know each other,
Right, and you want to say, you guys would have loved each other.
Yes, but it was so amazing because you realize, of course, you fall in love with this character, but to the cop, it's just another body.
Right.
You know? Oh man, sorry, I just blew. I just told you what happened.
I know.
You know what? It's been fucking out for 10 years at least, everybody.
I get defensive against no one. Please, bring it.
So then I was Googling our reviews. I was just curious.
Were you Googling the reviews or were you just looking at iTunes reviews?
No, I looked at Jackie and Laurie. I just Googled Jackie and Laurie show reviews.
Oh, okay.
Okay. It's just so Abigail 02 knows.
Not just
it's
Abigail
not too,
or Abigail 1.
Well, all Abigails now. They can all go fuck themselves. You ruined a name.
Not Larry. Abigail. Gone.
So it's not like I had to search very far. Then there's like this page of reviews, and they were mostly pretty good. And then there's there's that one where it was 3 stars. Loves
3
Jackie. Lori's very abrasive. I would prefer to listen to Jackie only talk. I don't care
In
for
this
Lori.
room.
Yeah, I fucking get it. You don't like me. You have to fucking finish. You don't have to start and finish the paragraph by saying you don't like me. I fucking get it, Abigail.
And my favorite thing was when you were like, how the fuck am I abrasive? That's, I want that on a pillow. Oh
What
my
do
God.
people think we can't read? Do people?
Maybe they think we're too smart to Google our own reviews. Nobody's that smart.
No one's that
No one is
smart.
that smart, people.
I think if you've been a
Googles their
celebrity
reviews.
for 30 years and
Yeah.
you don't understand the Google, you know when you're in that sort of bubble,
right,
then
right.
they I don't think Tom Cruise looks shit up. I don't think he even knows what AOL is. But you
Right.
and me,
Yeah.
we'll look shit up.
Right.
Don't
Yep.
be an asshole, man. I've got feelings.
Right. If you don't like the show, shh, keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
There you go.
Hey, you don't have to listen to our free show. It's free. It doesn't you don't pay anything. We don't get paid. You don't have
Right.
to listen to it.
Why don't we do the comic of the week after this rant? Unless you'd like to rant more.
Fine.
Would you like to rant more?
Oh,
it's
later.
Kira Sultanovich.
Yay, Kira.
It's at Kira.
Sultanovich show.
It isn't. It's at Kira Comedy on Twitter.
Oh.
At Kira Comedy, Kirra. And Kira Sultanovich is a crusher. That's what you said about her the other day.
She is.
She's not the Crusher, which is a wrestler from the 70s, but a Crusher because she always, yeah, she's an
Always
amazing
kills.
comic. You guys.
Yeah, she's really funny. She's also a mother. She has 2 kids.
Right.
And she kept. It's fucking hard to keep going, and she did.
Right.
And she
That's it.
if that fucking murders on stage.
If that isn't just, I'll take that as an epithet, which is she just kept fucking going, and that's hard.
And it's like she's one of those ones where she's headlining. If you're a club owner, you just give her the keys and tell her to lock up after she's done because she's going
Exactly.
to destroy. The audience will be happy. You'll have no
Right.
complaints.
No complaints.
No one will think she's abrasive.
Right. It's not like when you. What? So, and then other than that, your career is going well, right?
Yes. Okay.
Things are
Well, it
happening.
wasn't announced, so I don't know if I can say it. So I'll say it, but I won't give
Announce
too many
it.
details.
Don't announce it. Let there be no fanfare. Let there be no fanfare.
My special got sold.
Yes! Yes! Woohoo! 45 jokes? What's it called?
45 jokes about my dead dad.
45 jokes about my dead dad.
Yes.
And it's going to be on,
Well,
let's not, yeah.
I won't. I don't.
We
wanna,
won't say.
It's a streaming service, but I don't want to say it until it's completely done.
Right, you got to sign the papers. And
Yeah,
everybody.
sign the papers and
but,
stuff.
there is justice.
There's enough forward movement. I thought they were going to announce it this week, and then I would.
Yeah,
but
and then you
since
could
it
announce
hasn't been, I don't want to. But
yeah,
yeah,
fair enough. But that's great. That's
Yes.
that took long enough, and good for them.
yeah.
That is perfect.
Yeah.
And how's the book? Because you got a book deal too,
Yes.
right? And that's just going forward. It's already done, but you have to write it, right?
Yeah, that's
That one's done, but you have to write it.
yeah. I have to write it.
The dumbest thing I've ever said in my life.
Contributing to my rage, by the way.
Yeah, that's
you know,
not
it's
good.
hard because it's kind of like a shitty mom of grieving, where it's funny, hopefully funny essays about losing a parent.
Okay.
So it's aimed at middle-aged people whose old parents died. So it's not like the death isn't a tragedy. It doesn't qualify as
Right. Your
Uh,
cat didn't die.
It's not unexpected. Well, that's not a tragedy either. Sorry.
I know. She said it, not me. I'm the one who does all the cruel pet jokes, but I suckered her into it.
But so yeah, so it's like that, and I'm realizing as I'm writing it, it's like when I was writing Shitty Mom, every time I had a block, my kid would just, cup his balls or whatever. And I'd be like, and then there's something, right?
Yeah.
He would always remind me of something or help me, inadvertently think of another joke, another jokey chapter, right? But now I have to like go backwards.
Right.
And I have to go back to those weeks in my head every single time I sit down to write it. It's harder because I do spend a little bit of time feeling
it's heartbreaking,
that pain again that I thought I was sort of done with,
Well, this should clean it out. This should this should flush it out for good.
Yeah.
And then you'll have all good memories. But have you thought about watching your own special?
I will when they finish doing all the editing. And
when they clean it up?
Yeah. It's going to be, I guess, delivery date is supposed to be November 1st.
Okay.
Yeah,
So, because that should pop some stuff up too.
Yeah.
I'm having two things about grief. Well, the grief thing is, I have that grief chunk that I have and I did it at Odd Block and it worked. And then I tried it this week in front of my 6 peoples and it worked, it didn't work, and it kind of worked. So not in that order, but I'm like, it works so well at the Odd Block Festival that I'm like, oh, it's done, it worked.
Right.
And then I did it in front of 30 people, and now I'm scared again.
Well, no, not 30 people total.
30 people total over 4 hours.
I think.
Yes. Let's not.
I would take a club reaction more than I would take 6 people in the
Right.
who, again, it's. I used to work on this show that it was the Adam Carolla show. He had a show called Too Late, and we would get audiences that didn't know who he was. They didn't know what television was. They were from the rehab center. They were from the Netherlands. Yeah, I mean it was because of the time in the afternoon. I don't think you're getting. I think it's cool that you did the shows and stuff, and I'm sure you got some good feedback. But I don't think you're getting a real read.
Of
You're not
material.
getting a club audience read on stuff.
Well, and I do have some dates coming up where I'm doing long sets, and so that'll help.
Yes.
And what I was psyched about with it was is that it ran about 50 minutes, which is what you want out of an album. You want 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Even though bands do a new album every time they have new 30 minutes. Did you know
I
that?
might do an EP because I can't wait for
you to get 45 minutes together?
Yeah. I think I have like 30 minutes since I did my last album that I like.
That, and I think that we should make that okay.
Because isn't that, I mean, what you really want is to get that shit out on the radio so that you can get your sound play. And your
sound exchange money.
music. Yes, your sound exchange money.
And it's also on an album, so you don't have to tell that joke anymore. Like, because that was the other thing.
No, don't go that far.
It was, well, some of those
Slow
jokes.
down, lady.
No, I go to the vault more than anybody I know. Yeah. So I'm willing to go to the vault. But I was doing those jokes and I had forgotten that the Indian casino joke had never been on an album. Yeah. So by like the third show, I was like, oh, right, got to practice that one as well. And I had forgotten how some of it went.
It's jokes you're not doing anymore. Yes, so I have a lot of stuff like that. I mean,
but they need to be recorded.
Yes, yeah, right.
So that they can be sound exchanged.
Yes,
and so that they can actually
bring you income every single month.
Right, passive income. Also, that I like the idea of them just being recorded. You know, it's like, oh, that is a joke that is out there now.
Yeah, right.
There's a joke that's on my weird premium blend that is on no album.
Yeah, that
I forget about. That somebody reminds me. Just some weird. I think it's about my brother raising his kids as little hippies, and I don't even know how it goes anymore. But it is on that premium. And Comedy Central is making Sound Exchange money because they play it. The half-hour specials. They own that. It's a buyout. Oh. And I think they pay better now because I did mine in 2003.
Yeah.
And they paid $15. And I think they're paying $25 now.
So you can't record that material
No,
on
I could
re-record.
I could.
Okay.
And some of the stuff I did on the premium blend, I did record on my album, but I just forgot that. You know how
but they don't pay you any royalties.
No.
Your half hour went. Yeah.
No, that premium blend.
Those guys. Yeah.
I don't know if you've. Do you have any? There's video of you where something's gone horribly wrong, and the person who did the makeup, I look like a hua. I got like blue eyeliner and sparkle. There's like glitter on my face.
God.
And I'm coming down. Jim Brewer is hosting my premium blend.
Yeah.
And he's twitchy as all hell for who knows why reason. Anyway, he's walking down. I have to walk down these stairs, and I didn't know, and I decided to wear heels. Well, I never wear heels, but I decided to wear heels. Me watching that video, I think I'm going to take a header.
Oh my God.
And it would happen back in the 90s.
Where'd
the
you tape
premium
it?
Blend. Here at like the Wiltern or something. It was like, and there was a giant hamburger for some reason was the backdrop. A giant like
oh my God.
plastic hamburger.
Oh my God.
It didn't make any sense. The whole thing was.
I was after a premium blend, and it was taping in LA.
Yeah.
And I didn't get it, and I was heartbroken. And I think, like, were you ever told, like, it's you or this person, and the person's always another female comic, right?
It's always another female
So they're
comic.
your enemy, right?
Right.
So the person that got it doesn't do stand-up anymore.
Okay.
She dropped out a long time ago.
Right.
And
she didn't make it. She didn't make it.
there's no
didn't
need,
keep
there's no
fucking
need
going.
to say what I'm thinking. Now, but then I heard, but then the LA ones were the crowds were awful, and then I got it next year, and they did them in New York at John Jay College, and the crowds were bananas. So it was
great.
Fine. It was fine.
There's so many shows that I never got, and I know what I was going to tell you. I was talking, I did festivals and I did brunch, so I've talked to a bunch of people who have a lot of new shows on the Comedy Central, and some of them are stand-up shows, some of them are themed, whatever, and this guy was telling me, and he's the star of it, and he was saying, I cannot get them to book more than one woman. I'm just like, here's a list of all the comics I want you to pick, and some of them are hot, some of them...
One per show or one per
show.
season? Okay.
One per... sometimes it's not even per show. But he's just like, why don't we have one where there's two... I mean, they're at the top of the list, Let's just go down the list, and if there's two women's names in a row, he's like, they won't do it. They will not do it.
Fuck.
And he said it's exhausting.
They just did their roast.
Oh yeah,
One
they did
female
another
comic
roast.
on the roast, Nikki Glazer,
Right.
who has a show
Yes.
on Comedy Central,
And she was the only woman.
yeah. So that's
roasting
how you
Ann
have.
Coulter.
Ann Coulter was not a stand-up.
Right.
Was on it. I mean, she's a great foil, so I get why you'd have her on a
Yeah,
roast.
yeah,
but
she's
she's
just-
not a stand-up. Jewel. Who the fuck needs to hear from Jewel now? What the?
I don't
what
even
the
know.
Hell, how
What
did
is
that happen?
What is that? What is
you
Jewel?
can't put
Who is
another
Jewel?
female comic on. We got to get Jewel.
Is Jewel an actress? Who was
She was a
fucking Jewel?
singer.
Okay, is she done now?
Remember, she lived in a van
tree?
by the river in
Did she?
Alaska, and she had snaggle teeth.
No,
I'm sure she's a nice lady, but why does she have to go up in a female comic camp? I mean,
Right.
that's how they break a lot of their female comics. That's how Lisa Lampanelli got famous,
Yeah.
and Amy Schumer and Whitney
Yeah.
Cummings. Like, why not have another one on?
right? Just some woman comic who lives in New York and just bring it. That's
And there
so
was
weird.
another woman, I forget who it was, but it wasn't a stand-up, and I don't think she was minority. So that's might be four
Just
women, and they're all white.
And they're all white. And were all the guys? Were there any weird freak show male singers that I've never heard
Yeah,
of?
there were, but there were enough male comics where,
So it was fine.
yeah,
Yeah.
it just was like
It's like a dozen
fuck.
dudes.
It never
one woman.
doesn't get better.
It doesn't.
Why doesn't it get better?
I don't
Why
know.
don't things get better?
Let there be a Kickstarter. An emotional Kickstarter. We don't need the money. So just it's I don't know. I wrote this down. I was watching this comic, and he was so dark, and he was super likable, right? He had that
Yeah.
half smile on his face.
Yeah.
He's one of the new brand of beards, right? Like the new guys with the beards. The big beard is out.
Right.
The only people who have those still have those, right?
Right.
Or they've shaved them. The new bearded youth movement is like Aristotle. It's a close cut. It's
yeah.
nice, and it's actually much tidier. I enjoy it. And this young man
Yeah.
was going at it, and he was so dark, and it was jokes that were kind of telegraphed, like he was like, it was, I beat my girlfriend, and then it was a good. His beating his girlfriend joke was actually pretty
What
good.
was it? Oh, you can't do it.
No, I can't
Yeah.
do it. I can't even remember his name, so it'd be
To death? Was that the
Oh,
joke?
I did write his. No. It's
That doesn't seem very funny.
right.
He gave me the joke pause, but then he
Right.
beat her to death.
It was too many
terrible.
dark. You do a lot of dark jokes in a row, right?
Yeah.
But you know that you got to break it up.
Yes.
And this guy didn't break, and he only had one good joke. He had the one good beating his girlfriend joke.
Yeah.
But then there was a joke about pedophilia, and then there was a joke about rape, and then there was it wasn't.
You know what's weird? It's like it almost seems like people are going down the line. All right, what are the 10 topics I gotta hit to be dark? Right?
Right.
And
It
they
felt
get
like
them.
that.
You're hitting all your numbers, but that's also now you're an archetype as well. You're a comic who we're just trying to figure out what are you jumping to next? What lily pad? Is it rape or is it child porn?
Right.
Tell us.
Oh, weird, soft-spoken dude who's going to do something super dark. It was so weird. And yes.
But who
But
cares?
you
Everyone
can't-
goes through their phases.
That's it. That's
I went
it.
through a super dark on purpose phase.
And it's none of my damn business what he
Yes.
does on stage. I just go up next. That's all I do, and I do
We're
my
just
business.
noticing trends.
Just noticing trends. And
Repeat themselves as you learned earlier in the Norman Lear autobiography.
here's my trend that I'm
Yeah.
liking is that people canceling their own shows.
What?
Marin,
Jim Gaffigan.
Jim Gaffigan, and Amy Schumer were all like, I'm done. I'm canceling my own show.
Yeah, that's interesting. I hadn't thought of the other two.
Yeah.
Gaffigan. I had always
Gaffigan.
wondered, how is he doing this?
Well-
I still don't.
Five nannies, I assume?
No, they don't do nannies. As far as
don't?
I know, no.
Okay. I know him. I don't know him super well. I've met his wife. I've never met his children.
I mean, I'm crawling to the finish line every day with one kid. I just
maybe with 5 they raise each other.
I don't know.
Maybe you should adopt 4
I don't
children.
know. I really, it's that made so much sense to me. I felt
Oh, of him
bad
canceling? Yeah.
Yeah, but my fucking God, it's.
Yeah.
Because Jeannie is also, she's on the set. They're all, it's not like he's got a wife back home who's doing all the dirty work.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
he gets to be,
she's writing just
she's
as
right
much
in
as
it.
him. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. Oh.
Did you,
Yeah.
okay. I watched the Tony Robbins
Netflix
Have
thing.
you seen it?
No, I'm good. I don't need to see it. I understand it's very inspirational.
It's so strange. Like he does a 10-hour set basically.
Wow.
Like he's on stage for 10 hours.
Yeah.
And I wish I was one of those people that could go and be in the audience and go hurrah and then just feel some energy move through me and it
feel
would
anything.
change
I
me.
wish you could feel anything. What? Aw, jackass. Boom. I'm here all week. Anyway, but it didn't do that for you?
But
Did you get kind of
I
excited?
don't know. Yeah, yes, a little bit, but
Okay.
I don't know. Like he's a guy, according to him, he went through horrific abuse, right?
Okay.
Because then he talked about how we'd run on the treadmill and say something like, I'm the greatest. All the wealth runs through me. Some crazy thing where if I
Affirmation-y?
thought that once genuinely about myself, I would seek therapy. But to shout it while you're on the treadmill for an hour, that's insane. That's a really odd behavior.
But that's the behavior of affirmations, though.
But it's also somebody who maybe when your childhood is that horrific,
Okay.
that what you have to do to correct so
Is-
that you feel normal
Right.
is
Strip it down to
complete
nothing.
insanity.
Maybe
yeah.
you got to strip it down to just the frame of humanity, and then rebuild from there.
Yeah, and
you have to
rebuild by being on a treadmill and shouting affirmations.
I'm the greatest. Which the thing is a lot of psychologists are like, you have to reparent yourself. When
Yeah.
something sad
Right,
happens.
right.
So that's what he's doing. He's reinventing his self-esteem.
Yes.
By telling himself the good things that were genuinely never told to him. Right.
Yeah, I guess so.
I have not watched it, but what I like to do is I like to get things secondhand.
Yes.
And so one of the greatest lines I heard, and did you feel that this was a good line? What I heard that he said during it was that this is not the answer. This is an answer. This is an answer. This is what I've done. This is an example
Yeah.
of how I've come through this. And you can use whatever you like of it, but this is not the answer. It's an answer, which I thought was kind of cool.
Well, I liked what he said about not worrying about what you're going to accomplish this year. It's what you're going to accomplish over decades. But then it seemed it was this unnatural focus on accomplishment. You know,
Just too much success. Quit thinking about it. Well, I mean, the way I tend to think about it is I'm just psyched about the work, you know? I
Right.
just want to do the work.
Yeah.
And I figure the money will follow. And I figured whatever success comes, and this is harder, is that I get what I get, you know? I don't always get the things that I want, but I get plenty.
yeah.
So, you know, I'm going to do the seminar. You know, I've done this seminar a couple of times.
Will you give a seminar?
Yeah. I have a seminar I'm doing at JFL 42
Yeah.
for local Toronto comics and anybody else who wants to give JFL 42 $20.
Wait, next year at Just for Laughs?
It's a Just for Laughs Toronto. So it's
Okay.
it's in October, I think
Okay.
it is. But it's might even be.
Are they flying? Are you doing a gig too? Or
Yeah.
you,
Yeah,
okay.
I'm doing Just for Laughs where I get to do hours.
Okay.
It's great. And then I'm going to also
Is Just for
open-
Laughs at Toronto a club?
No, Just for Laughs is that Montreal festival.
Yeah.
But they also have a Toronto version of it.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm going to go there. I'm going to do a live Dork Forest.
Okay.
I'm going to open for Maria, and then I get to do 2 1-hour shows of my own. Maria's going to open for me.
no.
Yeah, where
cool.
I have instructed her to end. Follow that motherfucker. That's how I want her to close her set. But yeah, and then but I'm also one of the local Toronto comics were like, hey, I understand you do that weird. That thing that I did we've talked about it
Atlanta.
before.
Yeah.
It's
where you tell people how to.
it's usually
say
$5 or
please and thank
$10.
you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Where I alert people to do their time and to not do
To
their
make
time.
eye contact. Yeah.
Yes, please do your time and make sure you know who's paying you. It's a
Yeah.
very basic but I got an email from Dawn who's working with JFL to help put this thing on, and she said, "So I've got it blocked out. It's going to be 6 hours."
What?
And I go, no, it isn't. No, it isn't. It's usually an hour and a half, and then a half an hour of them talking. I can usually talk for an hour and a half about stand up, because I've got bullet points. I've got shitty one nighter stories, and I hand out like a copy of.
How many times do you say Larry?
I say Larry just 3 times, and then you will hear Larry 3 anyway. So so I told her I maximum 3 hours, and then I'll take everyone to lunch. How about that? And so she changed it to that. So I don't know how Tony Robbins would do 10 frickin' hours of talking at people.
I don't. And his wife. Oh my God.
Yeah?
She.
Is he married to Tammy Faye Baker? That's why I
Her
always
name
picture
is Bonnie Pearl. So yes.
Bonnie Pearl.
Yeah. Bonnie-Pearl.
She got a hyphen in her name?
Yeah. That's a name you give yourself, right? You're
Yeah.
not born with that one, right?
Yeah, that feels like a name you gave yourself.
Yes. And you know what? If all these broken people are fucking figuring out a way to make themselves presentable, I'm Bonnie Pearl. Okay, good for you. I'm glad. Good. I'm glad. You know?
Yes.
But I guess that was the other thing. It was a very male experience, you know, and seeing, he kind of paid her lip service of she's just as, motivated as I am. But the only thing we see of her is her pushing the music up when he's finished dealing with somebody. And it just felt weird. It felt one of those
Little too Little Woman kind of thing?
Yeah, but I don't know. I would have a
Andy's on jury duty this week.
yeah.
And he said the judge, he actually got picked too. I've never even gotten into the room where it happens.
Yeah.
Anyway, but he goes in, he's on a criminal case, but the judge actually said, they said, what does your spouse do? They always ask what your spouse does. And he goes, oh, she's a stand-up comic. And you know how sometimes when you tell people you're a stand-up comic, they have that head whip?
Yeah.
What? And Andy was like, that's what he did. And I was like, oh, it's about to begin. That's what Andy goes, I knew it was coming. and I said, what did he say? He said, well, is she funny?
Oh God.
And Andy said, yes. And he goes, at home and everything? He goes, all the time funny. Never not funny. Jimmy
Judge is a
Pardo.
male.
The judge is a guy. Yeah. So they're having what I consider to be the malest conversation, a guy funny kind of conversation. Because then that judge says, what about you? Does she think you're funny?
Oh my God.
And then Andy said that he paused and he goes, well, she makes fun of me. She laughs at me. And I was like, oh, that is such a horrible, hacky thing to say. And he goes, he laughed like I had written the Bible.
Oh my God.
And I was like, Jesus.
Can you imagine that guy being the judge on your rape trial?
No, I can't. Oh, Jesus.
You would be. Yeah.
Yeah, of course he would be. Where are we at? Is it over?
Yeah, seriously. What?
58 minutes.
2 more minutes. Christina Walkinshaw just finishing her little hike right now. She does an hour.
Exactly. She hikes up. It's an hour hike. So Kira Sultanovich was our comic of the week.
Check out Kira.
I'm at Jackie Cation on all the things. You're at Annie Laurie.
Yes,
16.
I'm doing the Cinderblock Comedy Festival in Brooklyn, September 17th. So I will be doing 3 shows in Brooklyn Saturday the 17th. Please come out to any of them. Check out Cinderblock.
One day, 3 shows.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm going with Maria to Oklahoma, Denver, and Fort Collins this week.
Cool.
So that'll be super fun. And then I'm just doing some LA sets before I go.
Yeah, I'm doing LA sets this whole week. Now we have to roll right into another podcast after this, don't we?
So let's get out.
Yes, end it.
Now leaving Nerdist.com.